So, Susie, it's awesome to have you here. Why don't we get into you a little bit? I'm fascinated by you. If somebody were to ask you, who you are, at a pub, coffee shop, whatever, what would you tell them the answer to that is?
Well, first, I'm a mom. I am a Gigi. Don't call me that other G word because that won't work for me.
Not yet, eh?
I love helping entrepreneurs build a business. I've built 10 multi-million dollar businesses, two $10 million businesses, and I love helping other people reach those goals. I think we make business too hard, and business is fun. Money is fun. Nobody likes math, but everybody likes the benefit of money. So math is money and money is fun. That's my passion, is how do you take this thing called business and build a lifestyle that a job cannot.
Ah, hell yeah, that's what I'm all about. That's what I'm talking about. So let's get into what you're doing right now. What are you passionate about? You said you started two $10 million businesses. What about right now? What are you up to?
I'm building another multi-million dollar company. I've got 10 businesses that I run, helping them put systems and structure. I'm a fractional COO. So I'm the system strategy, building the team, putting the right systems in place, and showing you the money, honey. How to
Yeah, give me
make money.
the there we
Woo-hoo.
go. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so let's get into the structure side of things. First of all, let me ask you, where do you think if we were to take this to a place where you could be of the most service to an entrepreneur watching, where do you think that would be? And then we'll kind of take it down that realm.
What do you mean by that? I'm sorry.
Out of all your expertise for an entrepreneur watching, what do you think would be the most value that we could offer together?
Well, one, when I think about like what was my biggest hurdle in building my own businesses, right? I was not good at this, right? I was good at the technical part of my business. I was a really good technician.
Hmm.
And the business side, the math side, the strategic acumen, I didn't know anything. I thought if you were a great technician, the money would come. Well, that's 15% of our financial success is based on the vocation that we do. The other 85% is your sales, your marketing, your operations, and your finances. And I started this, Kyle, because I ran into businesses. I ran into roadblocks, right? I got sued. I'm like, oh no, I don't know anything about being sued, right? Then I'm like, well, I got to figure that out. So I took a business law class. I couldn't figure out, like I would meet with my accountant and there was two P&Ls. One said I had money, one said I didn't. I'm like, just tell me the one I need, right? And they're like, well, you need both. You got to understand both. So I'm like, I took a small finance class, right? And then I'm like, I need new clients. So how do I do this thing called marketing? So then I took a class. So my journey was this kind of rogue entrepreneur. What did I need in my business today? And what do I need to put in place? So my whole process has been I would share, and my clients would go, Susie, can I buy that thing? I'm like, you want to buy my thing? Right. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a strategy. It was this whole bubblegum, shoestring, band-aid, duct tape, figure it out. I'm like, there's got to be an easier way.
Hmm.
Right. There's theory in business, and I see a lot of marketers working inside of theory versus the practicality of
Yep.
what's happening inside your business. So I get rid of the theory and put in structure to go, what's the simplest way to get you to where you're looking at and where you're going, right? All entrepreneurs need money. That's why I always start with money. Your financial forecasting, your roadmap, like what are the things we're managing, your pricing. Listen, most of us pull our pricing out of our genius zone, right? We're pulling it out of our high knees. And the reality is that has nothing to do with pricing. It's not what you charge. It's not what I charge. Your overhead is different than my overhead. And so, how can we create the structure to allow you to see what's the most profitable way to build your business?
Hmm.
And I always tell my clients, I'm not a CPA, I'm not an accountant. I have a ton of spreadsheets, but I put them together for me. And then I would show you, and you're like, can I have that spreadsheet? I'm like, you want my spreadsheet? I'm not an accountant, right? And they're like, yes, that's gold, right? That information is juice. So, a lot of the things that I put in place are stuff that I used in building my own businesses, right? To show you how can I help Kyle make money? How can I help you leverage a podcast? How can I help you attract more clients and be paid what you're worth? Right. A
Hmm.
lot of times we put our pricing together, which is important on market. and market value and what the market will bear. But at the same time, Kyle, you have expertise that somebody else doesn't have. I have expertise that somebody else doesn't have. So you're paying for my knowledge, you're not paying for my time. And when I look at what's that result you're helping clients produce, that's what we're selling, right? Is the result. And so in my book, Power Your Profits, it was published by Simon and Schuster. It's all about the journey of building 7-8 figure businesses. What were the steps that I did? I kind of reverse engineered and said, oh, I did this, I did this, I did this, right? Instead of trying to figure it out, to go just do step 1, step 2, step 3. The great thing about Power Your Profits is it's not a sequential book. You don't, if you suck at math, go to chapter 6, math is money, money is fun. If you suck at marketing, go to the marketing chapter. If you're trying to build a team, start with your team building. So it's each chapter can point you in the right direction of where you need to go in this season, right? In this challenge, because most entrepreneurs, we got a challenge, we're trying to fix it. Like, what's the fastest way to fix this? How can I do it and not lose that momentum?
Right. So it's essentially all the lessons that you've learned over time. And, it's interesting because most people don't specify expertise in so many different realms, but you wrote a book that has step-by-step instruction. It's not layered in terms of sequential layering, but you have an eclectic source of data, a source of lessons to be able to withdraw from, which is interesting because most people will write a book and then it's one topic and then the entire book is encapsulated in that topic. Whereas you
Right.
kind of look at everything you learned in business over quite a long time, and you said, "Hey, look at this is everything I wish that I would have been able to have to know before I had to go through it all myself, right?" And so
Exactly.
it's interesting. So it's a big shift as opposed to what most people write about. So what do you think the most impactful chapter of that book was?
Well, I like math is money, money is fun, because it was the most impactful for me. Once I wrapped my arms around it and could put it in a language that I understood, right? And I appreciate my CPA, I appreciate my accountants, but sometimes it's like they're speaking Greek and I don't know Greek, right? Or they're speaking in, quantum physics. And I'm like, I just need step 1. And so a lot, and I give you tools and templates and spreadsheets, right? When you get the book, you can go download them to go use this sheet, use this spreadsheet, right? Even looking at qualified clients, we think, oh, I need 30 clients. Well, if you need 30 clients, we have to have 300 qualified leads, right? To get 30 clients. If you look at the average person is closing 10%, well, nobody tells us that. You only figure that out after you've crashed and burned for so long. You're like, oh, 30 clients, that's no big deal. Not a big deal, but you got to have anywhere between 300 and 1,200 leads to close those 30 people, depending on how good you are in sales. I also give you, in my sales chapter, I give you my $100,000 script. I have been using this script, Kyle, for 25 years. And still to this day, I know the script like the back of my hand, but I pull it up when I'm on a call, when I'm on a discovery call, I'm on a consultation call, because I know me, I'm a coach. I want to give you answers. It's not time for the answers. So the script, when you
Interesting.
follow it, yeah, the script, when you follow it, works. I'm closing $100,000, $500,000 clients from this script that I've been using for 20 years in my business. And I trust the script, right? Trust the system. So when you're trusting a system, when you put a system in place that works, follow the system, right? So I'll put it up. I'm looking at it so I don't get caught up in, I want to fix you, I want to save you. So many times we're trying to show our clients how good we are. It's not time to show you how good you are yet. You got to find the need, fill the need. What does Kyle need? How can I serve Kyle? How can I support him in his business? And sometimes it's not me, right? Sometimes it might be a software. Sometimes it might be another coach. Sometimes it might be a full-time marketing team. I know that if I'm serving the client the way the client wants to be served, they will eventually come back to me, right? Because now it's not just about money. Do I love money? Sure. Do I have to have money? Sure. I have to pay my bills. I have to pay my overhead. But the reality, the minute I get on a phone call with you, the minute I'm in a conversation with you, it's about you and your dreams and your business. And I think most entrepreneurs lose sight of that. And there's most people that are just in it for the money. That's never been my purpose. There's that book, I don't remember the author's name, but she said, do what you love and the money will come, which I believe that. So I love what I do. I love supporting clients. I love supporting it. How can I help you build your business, build your growth, build that growth engine, and looking at who's the best resource for that.
Mm,
I'm super connected because I've been doing this for a really long time. I have vetted a lot of people, and the people that I recommend are people that I use in my business, right? You got to do your own due diligence. I'm not saying they're the end all be all, because I've had clients who haven't been happy with them. But the reality is, do your own due diligence. Don't just trust my word. And I think there's so many, you know this, right? There's so many charlatans in our industry where it's theory, or it's they're in it for the money, they're not in it for the result. And I've learned to be result oriented. Am I getting the result from doing this system? Am I getting the result from putting this this program in place? And am I doing the work? Right, it has to start with me. Am I being accountable? There's no sprinkle fairy dust. Like, some people will come to me like, it's not working. It's not working because you're
'cause
not
you're not
working.
working. Yeah, no kidding,
Yeah,
right? So
it's not
you,
working because you're not picking up the phone dialing for
yeah.
dollars. That's part of business. You got to pick up that phone. You got to dial for dollars.
Yeah, no kidding, right? So you got to put in the
Right.
work. I get it, dude, 100%. So the question becomes, how do you know what result the client wants when you're, let's say, walking them through a sales process? Because I love it. You're not talking about giving all the answers. You're talking about eliciting pains, eliciting what they need to hear to be able to close the deal. So walk me through that process a little bit. How do you go through that elicitation so you know what they want so that you can give them what they need?
Well, one of my very first mentors, Kyle, was the top 1% salesperson for Dale Carnegie.
Mm,
And so he taught me the sales structure and the sales system. So it's not my system, right? I've borrowed from Dale Carnegie, give credit where credit is due, and it's situational selling, right? You're finding the need, you're listening
yes.
to them,
Yes.
you're listening to pain. What is the biggest pain? And you're walking them through this process of, if you can improve any area of your business. Now, it doesn't matter if you're in health business, if you're in business coaching like I am, if you're in the medical field, like, tailor that question to, if you could improve any area of your health, if you can improve any area of your business, if you can include any area of your finance, if you can improve any area of your brand, if you can include, so the question is tailored to whatever your expertise is. And what's important is, once you ask that question, you say, how do you know that's something that you need? That's question number
Ah, I
two.
love that. Great
So,
question. Yes.
oh,
Ah, you
balloons.
got balloons flying up.
Um, so that question has them present to, that happened last week. That question has them present to, this is an immediate pain,
Yes.
right? And they'll give you that example. Then the third question is, if you don't change that situation, what happens inside your business?
Yeah.
So again, we got to get them to the pain point. If you stay on the surface level and never get to the pain point, they don't really know they need to change. And so that question
Mm,
is, what happens if you don't improve upon this situation? Has me go down this path of, well, I'll give you the normal examples, and the answers I get is, if I don't improve upon this, I won't have cash flow. If I don't improve upon this, my team won't be motivated. If I don't improve upon this, I won't have a business. If I don't improve upon this, I'll feel like a failure. If I don't improve upon this. So those are the typical answers. Now, the next question has them go deeper. We call that going into the valley.
mm.
So great. If you don't improve upon it and your business starts to fail, if you don't have the revenue, if your team's not motivated, then what happens in your business? You got to get them in the valley. So
Mm.
many people are afraid to get them in the valley because they don't know how to bring them up, but follow the script, right? It's in our selling chapter. Follow the script, do the script, don't deviate from the script, don't make the script your own. People want to change the questions. It's designed with NLP, which is neuro logistic programming. I used to teach neurologists.
Neurolinguistic programming. Hell yeah. Do you know
Yeah,
Richard Bandler?
yes.
That's what I'm talking
And
about. All
so
right. So you know the
when we start,
OG.
yeah, he's the OG, right?
Yeah.
And so that has you tap into their bigger concern, their true purpose, without conceptualizing, right? So if we don't improve upon those things, then what happens? And so you got to bring them into the pain. Bring them into the pain so they can see, wow, if I don't improve upon this, which they usually say, I'll feel like a failure. I can't do it. And then I'll lose my business. I'll lose my relationship. Like, you've got to get them to the hurt part. Then the next question is, Kyle, if I can turn this around, what would that mean for you?
Mm,
Now I'm giving them possibility.
yeah.
Now notice, I still have not given them any coaching. I still have not fixed them. I'm having them be in their pain. Now, if I can help you turn it around, I don't say I can. If I can help you turn around, what would that mean for you? Which is normally, I'd be excited. I knew that I could do it. I knew that there's a possibility, right? And then the next question is, and if we could turn it around, what would you know about yourself? Well, I would know that I could do it. I know that I'm proud of myself. I knew that this was worth all the risks that I take. Now, this is the caveat. What are you willing to do to make that happen?
Mm, mm,
That question, what you want to hear is, I'm willing to do anything. If they're not willing to do anything, they're not an ideal client, right? Because then they're going to go, well, I don't know. I'm not, I'll try it. I don't want someone to try. You're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. If you're not going to do it, end of the call. You're at 20 minutes, end of the call, right? To go, I don't think I'm the right person for you, which is the takeaway sale, right? That's another psychology piece of sales, is the takeaway sale. But
yeah.
I truly mean it. If you're not willing to do whatever it takes, if you're not willing to get up early, if you're not willing to stay up late, if you're not willing to reinvent yourself,
Mm,
to make this business work, to make your project work, to make your passion work, why are you doing it? Go get a job, right? There's a number of people that will pay you $100,000 to do whatever your job is. I'm not interested in a job. I'm interested in making a difference. I'm interested in supporting people and living their true calling and their true passion. I believe, Kyle, that my gift from God is my life, and my gift back to God is, what do I do with my life? For my family, for my community, for the bigger cause. We all have something innate in us that's so uniquely different, right? They need you, they need me, they need, women and men of color, they need diversity, they need to hear it from many different aspects, not just one package. So I think sometimes we go, oh, well, they only want to hear it from Kyle. Well, no, they want to hear it from Kyle, then they want to hear it from me. Sometimes you need to hear it from multiple sources to get it, whatever it is. And so that question is the defining moment for me.
mm, mm,
Then the next question is, again, it's agreement pacing, right? And again, neurolinguistic programming. Agreement pacing is, if you tell somebody 3 relevant things that they know or believe to be true, the 4th thing you say will be accepted without question. So my question is, can I give you my recommendation? They're always a yes. And before I give my recommendation, I say, so what I heard you say is you're frustrated. What I heard you say is you're not having your sales. What
yeah.
I heard you
Mm,
say is that you're looking for answers and you haven't been able to find it. Did I get that right? So if you tell a person 3 relevant things they know or to believe to be true, the 4th thing, which is your recommendation, is accepted without question. So they're like, yes, yes, yes. If I can get you in the yes mode, now you can use these powers for good or you can use them for evil. I want you to use them for good, right? So we're supporting people in building a business, right? I don't want you to manipulate. I'm not manipulating. I'm truly helping you get to cross the finish line, whatever that finish line is. And so they're 95% of the time a yes. The biggest obstacle might be money and payment plans, right? So if money was no option, would you do this? Yes. If I can show you how to pay for itself, would you do this? Yes. Then I've eliminated the money conversation, and now I'm just figuring out financing for that client. So it is the simplest. In 20 minutes, I can close $100,000 to $500,000 sale in 20 minutes.
yeah.
From no relevancy. Maybe they saw me on social media. Maybe they saw me on a webinar. Maybe they saw me. But when I truly come from a place of finding the need, filling the need, magic happens.
It's beautiful. Seriously, yeah, because you get down to the way I look at it is you're leveraging both sides of the coin. You really drill down, you're Yeah, you're exploiting, and I don't mean this in a negative way, because same with manipulation. You can manipulate a peanut butter jar. You're still manipulating it. It's just a word that means you're changing matter, or changing the meaning of something. And so you can exploit the negatives in their life, or we can use a different word because it's loaded in our culture. We could say you're leveraging the negatives that they're experiencing in their life. You're eliciting them, and then being able to leverage that with the yes statements, which is so cool. Because I love it. Because you could say it like as you're sitting there, it's a hypnosis, really. So you can
Yes.
see as you're sitting there, you're feeling the chair under you. You're watching me on the screen, and as you're watching me, you start to feel more relaxed, more confident, and you're starting to move towards the sale here. So you can really start to build up that, like you say, yes, it's undeniable. I feel the chair. I see you on the screen, and then the next thing is,
Yes.
yeah. So that's what you're leveraging, right? But you're doing it at a deeper level by leveraging the pains that they're experiencing. You're the only one that cared enough to ask about those pains, and then you used it to offer a solution in a way that's accepted. It's freaking brilliant. What about the objections? One of the things that I like to do after that sales process exactly is moving them towards, well, because a lot of the time they'll say, yeah, I'll sign up, give me tomorrow. I gotta talk to my wife or whatever. And then I'll say, well, what would I have to say to get you to sign up right now? And some doesn't work all the time. Sometimes they'll just give me what I need to say to be able to make the close. And then it's like, okay, I do that and say that thing, do that thing, and then bam, we go through the Stripe checkout process together. So it's amazing. So a lot of the times objections will come up though. So how do you know what to say to an objection?
Well, when you go through the stairs, it's called stair step questions. When you go through the stair step questions, Kyle, very rarely are there objections. If there's objections, I didn't go into deep enough in the pain. I didn't go deep enough into what happens if you don't improve upon this, right? So many people stay at that surface level. You can't
Yeah,
stay at the surface level. 9 times out of 10, when I'm doing this, they're crying.
right.
They're crying because they
Interesting.
see their dream not actualizing because they've already
Mm,
suffered.
mm,
They've already been trying to do all the things that they know how to do humanly possible before they've asked for help. Now, if it's a brand new business and they haven't been beat down a little bit, then I have more objections, right? They don't have enough season. They
right.
don't know, they still have that ego or she go. Listen, in my business, I have coaches. I've got 3 financial coaches and a business coach, right? That's helping me. I have a fitness coach. I have a health coach. Now, I'm not using them all at the same time, but I'm looking at what do I need in this season, right? I am looking at my financial coaches I'm meeting with every month and every quarter. My business coach, depending on what I'm up to and what I'm doing, then I'll plug into that coach. My health coach, we're meeting once a quarter. So I'm not doing it all the time, right? Every coach, every time. I'm just looking at what do I need right now in this season for myself, personally, mentally, spiritually, physically. Because as entrepreneurs, this is my game, right? My body is what's keeping me going. I have to have a stamina. I'm in, we as entrepreneurs, we're doing Ironman, right? We're not marathon runners. We are Ironman. Like the things we have to learn, the things we have to do. So I've got to keep this body a well-oiled machine, from eating to exercising to not drinking alcohol, right? To what do I need to do so that I can function at a higher level? And when I slack off, because I do, I'm a human being. I like my chips and salsa and margaritas, right? But I'm not as crisp. I'm not as sharp. And then I pay for it. And I'm like, I did this
Yeah,
to myself. So what am
yeah,
I doing? Right?
yeah.
Whatever that is, not exercising. Like I did it to myself. I didn't manage my stress. Like I have to have, I have a personal development coach, aka therapist, right, that I plug into to make sure that I'm working at the most optimal level for myself, right, for my family, for my man, for my children, for my children's children, right? How do I do that? How do I manage all that? It's a lot for one person, and things are changing so quickly. How do we change on a dime? How do we do that? You can't do it yourself. I can't do it with my own commentary in my head, right? I am the worst consultant for myself. I need an outside perspective to say, look at it this way, look at it that way, right? Remy said the questions are in the answers,
Ah,
right? Or the answers are in the
e-
questions.
either
The
way.
answer, yeah, the answers are in the questions. Like, what
Yeah.
questions do I need to ask myself? What questions do I need to ask my team? so that I can have better clarity. It's not me, the coach, having all the answers. I don't have all the answers. But what I do know is if I don't have the answer, I know Kyle. If I don't have the answer, I know JJ Virgin. If I don't have the answer, I know Lisa Nichols. If I don't have the answer, I know Tony Robbins, right? I know someone that can help you with the answer. My job is to figure out, what do you need? How do I help you? And who's the best person to help you?
Mm. I think
Inside your budget, right?
it,
We all have a budget.
right. And it's beautiful because what you're talking about is connecting people. So I think the better question, I think, is instead of what the objections are, how do you get people to open up to you like that? Because it takes a lot of breaking down those walls to be able to have somebody really, let's say, cry in front of you, in fact. So
It's the stair step questions. It's the stair step questions. It is the system.
but it's
Like if
not
you
just that because it's the energy you're putting behind it. There's more to this, the words. It's you're really creating a safe space for people. You're creating an empathy-filled zone where they're not afraid to really let themselves out, to really let the walls down. And it's not easy for a lot of people. So how do you get
what is
people to
my
really open
vulnerability?
up?
Right. So it's my vulnerability too. I'm ready to share
Mm,
my
right.
mountaintop and I'm ready to
Mm,
share my valley.
mm.
Right. So many experts just share their mountaintop. And the reality is, you don't want to just hear that. You want to know that I've been bankrupt. You want to know that I lost $10 million, Kyle, in the market crash. You want to know that. And I'm still standing. I'm still here. I rebuilt my wealth. Like that was a huge learning curve. Embarrassing because I'm the money lady, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is I was over leveraged. What did I learn in that season? So in
Mm.
every breakdown, I'm always looking at, once I'm out of my pity party, I do have a pity party. I'm a
We all
human being,
do. It happens.
right?
It's part of it.
Dude, that was a lot of money.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow.
That was humbling. Took me to my knees. That took me a minute to get over. Right, just in 2008, I lost everything. Right, I lost my wealth. I lost my marriage of 17 years. Right, my kids went off to college. I felt isolated and alone. I couldn't go back into the industry that I was in because I
Mm.
had a non-compete. I sold that business. I was like, well, who am I now? Like I threw the baby out with the
Who am
bathwater.
I? Interesting, because it's not what do I
Yeah,
do, it's who am I? Your identity was collapsed, which is
so collapsed, which is very
yeah.
masculine, but I think business can be very masculine. My my self-esteem was wrapped up in my accomplishments. And I
Mm,
had to reinvent, like, I am not my P&L. I am not
mm,
being a best-selling author. I am not. I'm a woman first. I'm a mom first. I started my businesses so I could provide for my children. I didn't start the business
mm.
to make money. I started the business because I'm like, I need to get my hustle on. I need to get that hustle muscle. I got divorced. I had no alimony or child support. I had to figure out how to make this work, right? With no family help, with no, just like, girl, if you don't make money today, you don't pay your rent. If you don't make money today, you don't feed your children. You don't make money today, you can't pay for daycare. So I have this burning desire to be something bigger for my family,
Mm.
right? And it's always been that way. How do I provide for my children? How do I provide for my grandchildren? How do I sustain that without feeling like a failure, right? So that if you don't have a big enough why, it can't just be money.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the podcast, and I want to let you know that I've got a free book that you can get if you want to tap into more of these resources. And you can get that for free at kylesbook.com. Back to the podcast.
Right, my big why was I wanted my children to have something different, right? I never wanted to be in the situation I put myself in. I put myself there. I'll own that, right? I didn't know what I didn't know and went, I don't ever want to be that vulnerable again,
Mm,
where I'm relying on someone and then the rug can be pulled out from under me, right? Now, it was pulled out from under me again, but this time, dude, I remember when I realized how much money I lost, and it took me 20 years to build my wealth, right? And I was on the floor crying. And not like a pity party, but I had been a good steward. I had
mm,
followed all the coaches and the experts. I felt like I did all the right things. And I remember being on the floor like, why? I don't understand. I did all the right things. And
Hmm.
I heard a voice. Now I'm going to call that voice God. You can call that voice whatever you want. And the voice said to me, I will never leave you and I will never forsake you. Get up. You know what to do. Go to the people.
Hmm.
Go tell the people. Now, I'm like, I am not telling people I just lost $10 million. That is something I do not want to share. And the voice just kept saying, go tell the people.
Huh.
You know what to do. Now, the interesting thing is, I wasn't
Hmm.
starting from scratch because I had 20 years of experience. I knew the system of money. I knew how to manage my money. I knew how to save. I knew how to invest. I immediately went and invested in real estate, right? I immediately did all the things that I did to accumulate my wealth. And so it didn't take me a year. It took longer than that, right? It took me almost 7 years to reaccumulate what I lost. It didn't take me 20 years, right? It wasn't as hard. It was just discipline, discipline structure, discipline structure, discipline structure. Most of us are so into instant gratification. You can't build wealth because you want instant gratification. You want the newest car, you want the newest shoe, you want the newest bag, you want the newest technology. Well, that's all great, but there's in sacrifice of something. Sacrifice in building your financial wealth, sacrifice in creating a future for yourself. As entrepreneurs, we have to save for that rainy day. We have to put money aside because there will be a crappy month, right? We know it. It's business. Business is up,
Ups and
down,
downs,
up,
baby. Yeah,
up,
fall,
down.
like Jim Rohn used to say, it was the seasons, like winter and comes what comes after winter. It's always spring and summer, and the same way the other way around. And so it's literally ups and downs. You got to prepare for that, is what you're saying. And what
Yes.
about the connections that you had built up over those 20 years too? Because it wasn't just the skills. You also had built up the connections, and also the ability to make connections. So what was it that really allowed you to build it back up over those next 7 years?
Yeah. So one of the things is I had two clients. I had John Asseroff and I had Lisa Nichols. And so those two clients, I just did for them what I did for myself. I got rid of all the other distraction and went, I'm going to build these two businesses
Hmm.
and I'm going to monetize that. I had a piece of the action, right? So I had a small retainer and I had a piece of the back end
Hmm.
because that allowed me financial freedom. Is I'm going to put all my time and energy in these two businesses. With John's business, we went from a negative 300,000 to a positive 300,000 in less than 12 months by doing exactly what I had done for myself. With Lisa Nichols, we took her from 80,000 to $10 million. And because of those results, it allowed me to snowball into more affluent clients, right? Clients who
Right.
were in clients who are like talking to me like, oh my God, she's the money, she's the money, she's the money. Right. And so that's how I got my clients call me the profit coach. And the profit coach, because I'm the money. I just see money. I see your business and go, oh, what if we do this? What if we do that? What if we do this? What if we do that? Because we all need that financial well-being.
True that. All right, interesting. So if let's go through the money coach. I mean, like hell, that's cool as shit. Let's say look, Lisa Nichols, for example, 2008. You got two clients there, right? So what did you actually specifically do? What did you walk her through step by step to be able to take her to what did you say, 8 million from 80,000?
80,000 to 10 million.
From
So the
80,000 to
first
10 million. So
thing,
so what do I do to be able to do something similar to that exactly, Like for an entrepreneur watching, what are the steps that you took her through so that way we
yep.
can we can kind of model what worked for you and what worked for her.
And the first step is we have to put your financial forecast in place. What do we have? What's our goal? Right. So here's what the goal is. And you
Yeah.
can go from 0 to 1 million. I did it when I launched this brand. I went the first year, I went from no contacts in my database to 12,000 contacts. Right. I got a book deal with Simon
Mm.
and Schuster. I looked at what are all the things I need to do to build my brand. Right. Our first launch was a $300,000 launch. And so the first thing is you've got to put your financial roadmap together. The second thing is you need to look at how many qualified leads do I need to bring in to make that number happen.
Mm.
Now, most people pull their pricing out of their butt, just being honest, right? And the reality is your pricing is based on your overhead. Every time I hire a new person, my overhead, my pricing has to shift. Because if I'm paying you $70,000 a year, that $70,000 has to come from somewhere, not my paycheck, It's going to come from the client's paycheck, but we're so afraid to raise prices. And so the reality is you can't be afraid. That's why you have to have a coach. You have to have somebody that's willing to go, I know you're afraid, and let's do it anyways. I know you're afraid, let's do it anyways. I know you're afraid, let's do it anyways. So those three foundational pieces, right, allow us to look at, how many clients do we need? How many leads do we need? What's the budget for that? You got to spend money to make money. So do we need to get a credit line? Do we need to go raise money? I've raised millions of dollars for my own businesses and other people's money. There is money all around you, right? Money all around you. And it's important to know there's money all around you. Are you tapped into it, or are you resisting it? A lot of our money beliefs is what's holding us back financially. So with Lisa, we had to really work with her money belief. She grew up in poverty, right? She grew up broken. So I had to dismantle her money mindset around prosperity. Now, the great thing is that woman was coachable, right? She would take that coaching, she'd get mad at me, she'd fight me. She would be pissed. You make me sell more all the time. And that's what your job is. Go sell more. Right? It doesn't magically happen. And so again, giving the script. You don't know how to sell, here's your script, right? You don't know how to get leads, here's the marketing company. So all those pieces make a sustainable business.
How do you go about actually pricing it based on, you said based on your cost, and then you can do the math, you can kind of play with some different numbers, say this many leads at this price will get me to where I want, or you could do this, like more leads with a lower price. You can kind of play around with the numbers. How do you know what numbers to stick with when it comes to knowing how to get to where you want to go? Because you can start a goal and you can know where you're at, but then it's difficult to actually do the math and be able to have that plan that formulates around the math. So what's your thought
Oh, but
process
it's
behind
not
that?
difficult to do the math. That's what I want you to
Well, the
know.
math is easy, but then it's difficult to structure the road there to actually build the roads. It's not like going on Waze and putting for your A to B destination from where you're at, because you actually have to build the roads to get yourself there. So how do you know what roads to build?
So in chapter 3, we look at planning a profitable business. And so I give you the formula. I want you to know that profit is planned. You've got to add that inside of your pricing. It can't be what's left over, because there's never money left over. So we're going to look at our overhead. We're going to look at our capacity. We're going to divide the capacity into the overhead, and that becomes your base price, right? What I don't like about marketing today is they're like, just sell a low-hanging fruit. Just sell $47. Well, can I just tell you how many $47 things you have to sell to get 100 grand? And 100 grand, and I know that's nothing. When you look at your personal overhead and you look at your business overhead, there's no money to build a business. So you can't sell a $47 thing. I flip the switch. What is the most expensive thing we can
Love it.
sell? Let's sell that first.
Mm.
You have no business selling a $47,000, $47, 47,000,
Yeah, see the slip, because that's where your
$47
mind goes
thing.
to, which is
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
until you have enough leads in your database that it's not about money, it's about qualified leads, right? So start with your highest thing
Mm.
first.
Mm.
You may have less sales, but we're starting with something that at least can pay your personal overhead. Because if you're worried, like it goes back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you're worried about food, shelter, clothing, you can't focus on serving people. You're just trying to figure out, how do I feed myself? How do I feed my family? How do I pay my rent? How do I pay my mortgage? Whatever it is, how do I pay my car payment? So it's, first of all, getting really clear, what is your basic needs, right? What is that overhead? And that overhead is part of the structure and putting your pricing together. Quit following people that have not earned the right to tell you what to do. We didn't start making money in Lisa's company until we had over 300,000 people in our database. Then we offered a $47 thing. 300,000 people in your database. If you don't have 300,000 people in your database, stop it. I'm just going to say, stop it. Now, yes, you'll find marketers that disagree with me. That's okay. But I built 10 multi-million-dollar companies and 2 $10 million companies. I think I have something to say about this, to go, how do you do it quicker, faster? Because we don't have a lot of time. You don't have a lot of runway. You don't have this bottomless, most people don't have this bottomless checkbook that you can just keep spending money. So it's important to look at, how do I create that profitable business from day one? Not wait till you're, suffering, go, oh, you're bleeding, and now you got to change the whole model.
I love the start at the top mindset because then you can say, like, if I could wave a magic wand and be able to solve all of these problems, what's the number one problem I could solve that would get the most income coming in? And you can structure your business around that. The question becomes, how do you know what to offer? How do you know what the highest price point is, and then how do you deliver that to people? And yes, we use the sales script, which I love, but then how do you really know what offer is the best that you can possibly get, and then to be able to price that accordingly?
Well, I have 35 years in this business, right?
Yeah.
So when I look at somebody's business model, I'm looking at what's worked because I've done it all wrong. Let me just say that. I have,
Yeah,
if I can
yeah.
guarantee, I have done it all wrong. So we're going to look at best practices right now in this market, this economy. I'm still building a business, growing a business. I have 10 businesses that I'm running right now. So I have my fingerprint, my finger on the pulse of what's working, what's not working. So I'm not, again, not giving you theory, not going, oh, this one drives me bananas too. Oh, just open a membership site. Can I just tell you, membership sites are a lot of work. I have the largest membership site in the beauty industry. And our average client stayed 18 months, which does not sound like a lot, but the
Oh, it's a
average
hell of a
membership
lot.
site,
It's crazy.
right? The average membership site, they stay 3 months.
That's if
And
they
so,
didn't log in to begin with. No kidding.
right.
Yeah.
And so that was the hardest $1 million I ever made. Because it was
Mm,
so much chasing people,
yes.
right? For every 100 members I had to have a customer service rep to make sure they were using it and engaged in it. It's not easy money. Like I hate when people say that. Sit back and rake in the cash. Let's
Because it
talk.
worked
That's
for
not
them and
real.
they assume it'll work for everybody else, right? And they forget how much of a pain in the ass it was because now they're looking
Well,
at it
did
from the
it?
lens of
And
having it.
did it really work for them? I think that's where
That's
due
that's
diligence,
also another assumption too, right? With all the charlatans.
right?
Yeah, it's just
I
theory
could tell a
marketing.
really
Yeah.
good story, right? And I'm saying, I could paint that story and go, we had clients stayed 18 months. You know, we did over 1 million in sales, right? Our retention was there, but it was the hardest $1 million ever made. Let me just tell the truth, right? Did it work? Sure. But what I had to do for that $1 million was way harder than other business models I've done. So I think we as leaders, we as influencers, we just need to be more transparent to go, here's the good news, here's the bad news. Whenever I hire someone in my company, Kyle, I'm like, I'm going to tell you the bad news first. Because if this scares you, you're not going to work on my team.
Hmm.
Because there's good news. I can tell you, we are amazing to play with. We are fun to work with. We are loving and giving, and we will help you reach your goals. And then here's the bad news, whatever the bad news is,
I
right?
like to do it the
Like,
other way. I'll say the bad things. Works in marketing too. I'll say the bad things and then I'll say but, which kind of negates, going back to NLP, kind of negates everything that went before it. And then they trust what
yes,
you're saying moving forward because then it's like, oh, I trust this person. It wasn't just all the positives. They said, like the Beetle advertisements back in the day was like, think small. They leaned into the perceived negatives of the product. And so you could say, yeah, it's small. It's I don't know. It's cheap on gas, but I don't know. That's a positive, I guess. But you could say that it's bad in an accident, whatever. But yeah, moving forward, it kind of negates all of that and then builds trust into leveraging what you can say on top of that afterwards. So it's badass. I'm unclear in terms of how to know what offer to give that would be the highest price point, so that you can use these persuasion techniques around it. Of
well, I think what's that's such a broad question, right? So I
course.
think what we have to look at is what's the result you help people produce, right? So I help people produce multiple income streams. I help them double, triple their sales, right? And there's a value to that. So don't think about, I'm going to give you this program that is 10 steps. Nobody cares about that. What they care about is the result. People
Yeah.
are paying for the result, they're not paying for the process. So for you and your business right now, look at the results and put a monetary value to that. I'm working with a company now, I'm taking them from 5 million to 10 million in a year. That's worth something, but I'm getting paid $500,000 for that. I'm getting paid $500,000 for that based on if we hit the goal or not hit the goal. And
Mm,
so there's
mm.
risk on my side, there's risk on their side. They know I'm in it to win it. I'm not just counting hours. I'm looking at how do I turn this business around, right? How do I look at it differently? How do I have them see it differently? So I want you to focus on what are the results, my programs, my product, my service, no matter what it was. I started out as a hairdresser, Kyle. I was the top 1% in the nation, top 10% in the world because of the numbers I produced, because of the results that I produced. The average hairdresser back in the day made $30,000. I did $250,000 working 3 days a week because I was producing results. I was having people feel good. I was having them, achieve their financial, I mean, their desired look, having them feel amazing, and they paid top dollar for that. Right. But again, I had a strategy, I had a script. I followed that script every single time I talked to a client. I had a checkout script. Everything I do has a system. Now, I learned that back in the day from Michael Gerber. Most people know who he is. He was a systems guru. I started looking at, how do I systematize this business? How do I systematize my process? Because everybody has a victory day when every client says yes. Well, what are you doing on those days that everybody says yes? You do it a certain way, you say it a certain way. I want you to start documenting that. That's all I did.
Mm,
And then how can we leverage technology to train new people to be the next little mini you? That's what we want to look
interesting.
at inside of, the business and what they're up to and what they're doing.
Interesting. So, okay, we've got the offer, we've got the sales price, we've got the sales process. The only thing left is in the formula that I can think of right now is the lead generation. So this is the marketing
Yeah.
chapter of it. So if we can encapsulate this with an all-included marketing lesson that would go from nothing to knowing what you're selling, what price point to sell it, and then where to sell it, and then how to get them sold. The only thing we're missing is step three out of that four steps. How do we get the leads to know who to sell? If we've got that high ticket product that's producing the maximum result, where do we start with the leads?
Well, I think it's important to realize there's not one thing that we do,
Yeah,
it's all the things that we do.
yeah.
I think a lot of times we go, I'm going to do this one thing, right? I'm going to do Google ads.
It's a
I'm going to do
hypothesis.
Facebook ads,
Yeah.
right? That's one thing, right? I need to look at all the areas that I do inside of my business. So when I look at my business, right, I'm doing webinars, I'm doing challenges, I'm doing a blog, I'm being a guest on podcasts. I have a podcast. I'm looking at the consultation. I'm looking at they're doing assessments. I'm looking at referrals. I'm looking at membership sales. I'm looking at each piece of my business and what piece is working. I'm looking at cross promoting. I'm looking at frequency of visits or frequency of purchases. I'm looking at the lifetime value of it. So there's not one thing I'm doing in marketing where that's where we get pigeonholed. We're like, well, I'm doing Facebook ads. Well, we've got to do all these other things in order to make that happen. And then we have to track, right? So
Yes.
speaking, I started speaking not because I wanted to be a speaker, it's because I need to pay my bills. And I'm like, where can I be in front of 50 women at one time?
Mm,
Now, number one fear in life is speaking. Number two, death by fire. Most of us would rather burn in hell than speak. I was the same way. I sucked my first time, Kyle. I didn't know anything about speaking. I didn't take a speaking class. I just found 50 women, needed to pay my rent, and said, I'm going to go speak to these women. I talked my way in there and I closed 3 people that day. 3 people. My average customer is worth $9,000 a year. That was a good day. And I didn't like it in the middle, but I liked it at
mm,
the end when I got 3 people. I'm like, how do I do more of this? How do I do more of this? How do I do
mm.
more of this? So you want to start being creative. Speaking is just a marketing avenue. It's not, yes, it can be about your ego or your she-go, but the reality is it's a marketing channel. I use it for marketing. Being on a podcast, I'm using it for marketing. I'm not going to get instant money from a podcast. People are delusional and they go, oh, I'm going to sell on podcasts. Probably not. You're going to get exposure. You're going to get people to your website. You're going to get people interested, right? Have something on your website that has them do a lead gen, right? Follow up with you. Like if you go to our website, you get a free business assessment. That business assessment has you look at every area of your business, see where the holes are, and then I give you recommendations on how to fix those holes. So the website is Susie Carter, CARD is in dollar, delicious, dinero, ER, right? And do the business assessment, right? That's just free to go, where am I at in my business? Where do I suck? Where's my blind spot?
Mm,
Now, in
mm.
the history of doing this, if you're doing it correctly, nobody will ever get 100, right? There's no way I would not get 100 in my business right now because something's broken in your business. You're working on sales, you forgot about operations, right? You're working on building your team, you're not holding people accountable. So there's always something that we're working on inside of our business. The point is to see where's my blind spots, what do I need support in, and how do I make that happen?
Mm. One of the things you said there that I loved was leveraging other people's audiences for leads. You said speaking was one of the ways that you said, who has my women in this case, and then how can I get in front of those women by leveraging a relationship that I can start with the person who has access to the list. So how do you
Yes.
know? Right. So that's beautiful because then you identify the target audience and you find out who already has them. How do you yourself find other people who have your target audience? Do you look at the psychographics of your target audience and then reverse engineer what else they're purchasing? Before, during, or after your product? I mean, how do you look at that whole process of identifying joint ventures?
Brilliant question. So one, I'm in several joint venture clubs,
Hmm.
right? So it's networking, like old school network, belly to belly, heart to heart. We might do it on Zoom, right? But I'm finding people who have my tribe and community.
Hmm.
Now, in my world, you give first. So I come giving first. So if Kyle's looking for guests for his podcast, I'm going to go to my database and give Kyle 5 referrals to go. Carrie Murphy would be amazing, right? Kelly Bagla, the queen of law. She only works with billionaires. She would be a great guest, right? I'm going to find the best of the best to refer to you so that my name comes to the top of the list,
Hmm.
right? So come bearing gifts, not what can Kyle do for me? What can Kyle do for me? Show you care about people, people will show you care. The second thing I'm doing is I'm always looking at where are my ideal clients hanging out? What speaking events are they are they at? Then I'm submitting to speak. You have to have a speaker's reel. You have to have a speaker one sheet, right? Most people are not paying anymore, right? Less than 10% of my revenue is speaking fees.
Hmm.
Out of the millions that I do, less than 10% is speaking fees, but I don't care. If I'm in front of my right customer, I can close $1 million at an event, right? It's all about, am I in front of the right customers? Don't speak to speak to the people that you want inside of your database. I'm an advocate, less is more. I would rather work with 10 people and have those 10 people be qualified than speak in front of 100 people and there's just a bunch of looky-loos, right? So the quality of the event is more important. Don't worry about how many people they have there. Worry about, are they the right fit? So you understanding your demographic, psychographic of your customers, most important, so that you can easily discern, are they here or are they not here, right? And you've got to put it in your schedule. I still, 35 years later, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, have 4 hours blocked out for sales time. 4 hours.
Hmm.
And I'm looking for opportunities to speak. I'm talking to affiliates. I'm talking to potential partners. That's part of my sales process, right? Now, when I first started, it was every single day was about outreach and marketing and sales time, to one, belly to belly, picking up the phone, dialing for dollars. You have to be consistent. What I love, the biggest compliment my clients can give me is they're like, Susie, you would not give up. You
Hmm.
kept, I would ignore you. You kept calling. I would not answer your emails. You kept emailing. You were just consistent, showing me that you really wanted my business. So you, just because someone doesn't call you back, just because they don't answer your email, don't give up. If they're the ideal partner or the ideal client, you got to earn the right. You've got to earn that business. It just doesn't get handed to you.
So you look at it with in terms of who has my audience and how can I provide value to that person so that when it comes to hiring a speaker or doing some sort of joint venture, they think of you because you've already given to them. The question becomes, and this is an important question, how do you know what value to give to the list owner so that they have that reciprocity bias kicking in? So they think of you when it comes down to that. How do you know what value to give?
Well, one, you have to look at what's the result. Like when we started this
Yeah.
conversation, I said, I'm the money, right? I'm
Yeah.
going to help you
Yeah.
find the money, leverage the money, double the money, triple the money. That's my jam. That's what I do. Now, if you're not interested in that, you're not going to want to reach out to me. I would rather you go, I don't like her, right? She's not the right one for me, right? I either people love me or I irritate the hell out of them. I'm okay. I don't want to waste my time talking to people who aren't qualified. I would rather you decide the minute you meet me, because people are forming 11 different opinions about you in 60 seconds, you've already decided if I'm the right person for you or not. And if I'm not, great, next. Because how many times, Kyle, have we wasted following up with people that were never our ideal client? They didn't have the money, right? They didn't have the time. They didn't have the, I will do anything to make it happen. I don't want to waste my time. I'm too seasoned. Spicy, but I'm seasoned, my friend.
Spicy indeed. I love it. I love it. What do you think about that? Do you think that really the impression that you make in the first 1 or 5 seconds is really the one that sticks over the next hour? Because what I find,
Absolutely. They're
really was,
looking for reasons to why they like you or why they don't.
yes,
They're
immediately,
looking
right.
for it. Yeah.
Yes,
In the
100%.
conversation, they're like, aha, I knew she was that way. Aha, I knew she was self-centered. Aha, I
Oh, because
knew
then
she,
yeah, the reticular activating system starts looking to confirm what you
yeah.
initially believed. But what about shifting that afterwards? Do you ever have a shifting experience where it's negative immediately, but then all of a sudden there's a moment that shifts unconsciously where you're like, wait a minute, maybe there is something here.
Yeah. So I have a great story. Dr. Alana. Dr. Alana met me through some like an event, and
Yeah,
she didn't really resonate with me. One, I'm a white woman and she's African American, right? So there was this like, what's this white girl going to teach me? This is
yeah.
her words, not my words. She's like, what's this white girl going to teach me? She goes, but then I kept finding myself. You would come on my For You page. You would come on my social media. You would come, and I started watching you and listening to you. And then I was just like, she's full of it. There's no way she's done that. And then you kept showing up. And then I reached out to you to see if you would do, an interview with me, like a podcast. And you said yes. And was like, I didn't think she would say yes, right? She's so busy. And she's like, I asked who her client was and if it was my ideal client, and said, here's what I need, here's what I'm willing to do for you. She goes, I slowly built this relationship with her and started trusting what she was saying was true. Now, the trust issue had nothing to do with me, but it had to do with her past, working with other
Interesting.
white coaches, right?
Right.
Other people that let her down. And I just kept showing up because you never know where the money's going to be, right? You never know where the opportunity is. I loved the conversation. I loved her tribe. Her tribe loved me, right? Let me contribute. Let's see if it works. And you got to be in for the long haul, right? It took us probably 6 months to really start seeing the return on investment. But I know business is long game. It's not short game, right? You never know where your clients are. And I knew her ideal clients were my ideal clients, but it was also a huge African American community, which there is a bias that says, what is this white lady going to teach me? And then again, I've got to lower those barriers, share
Yes.
stories, share
Yes.
examples, share, I see you, I get you.
Mm.
I want to help you. You're a business person. Doesn't matter to me what vocation it is. It doesn't matter to me what color your skin is. What matters to me is you're passionate, you're committed, you're making a difference, and we all need to make money. So part of it is you haven't earned the right to have somebody's financial well-being until you've earned the right to have their financial well-being. And that's a long haul. It's not a short game. I have been doing this for 35 years. Same conversation. I might tweak it. I might update it. I might package my book different, might package my program different, but the foundation is the foundation is the foundation, and I'm consistent. If you want me to be there, I'll be there. I will not let you down. And that says a ton in business today. I'm
Mm.
not finite.
Yeah, because what you're fighting right there is the personal unconscious that has this association with, in this case, white women or whatever the initial
Yeah.
impression of you is. You can't control all of the things that they've experienced before that you kind of remind them of or whatever it might be. But then you can start to, through persistence, through sweating on the lock and slowly eroding the metal to finally be able to unlock that chest. You're eventually going to get there, and there's something to that, especially when it comes to joint ventures, having audiences share with you, being able to tap into these opportunities. It's a
Yes.
beautiful thing. I love it. So let's
Like,
end with
are you willing to play the long game? I think that's what you have to
yes,
ask yourself. Some people aren't. Some people are like, well, that didn't give me my immediate return.
immediate yeah, exactly.
My
Yeah,
my business model is different. I'm not cheap, right? So I know I'm not cheap. So it's gonna take a minute. If you're gonna pay me 100 grand minimum, I got to earn that. And that's not going to happen in one meeting. Sometimes it does, but
sometimes, but
most of the time people have been
yes,
following me. They've been spying on me. They've been looking at me. Most of your clients have been watching you for a minute, right? It's not just, oh, I saw you online. That rarely happens. We see you online. We go to YouTube. We go follow you. We buy your book. We buy a, if you have a low hanging fruit or you have a lead gen, they're looking at it. Was it quality? Was it not? So everything has to be quality. And if you want to be deemed an expert, you got to write a book, right? It is a game changer, and not these cheesy books. Please do not write a cheesy book. Do not. You know what I mean by a cheesy book, right? like
Yeah,
the little
definitely.
pamphlets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Write something of substance, right? And they're like, I'm afraid to give it away. They're not going to do it. They're going to need help. I know my clients need help. Like I give a lot of content, right? Because you need help in getting this done. I'd rather tell you this is all the stuff you have to do. Let me stair step it backwards for you so that we're taking one bite of the elephant, not trying to eat the whole elephant.
Do you think that persistence is what is made you so successful over the years? Do you think if you had to boil it down to one trait, one thing, and there's overgeneralizing, but I mean, this is kind of a meta, this is an over-encompassing thing. I mean, do you think that that's the persistence that's allowed you to do what you've done? And if not, what do you think it is?
I think it's my persistence and my why. My why has
Why,
always been
which go
bigger.
together?
Yeah, my why of I'm doing this for my children and my children's children. I'm doing this so I have a better life than I ever had as a child, right? I'm doing this
Yeah.
to make a
Mm,
profound difference in the world. My why is so much bigger than my identity, so much bigger than money. It's so much bigger than the job itself. It's
mm,
like at the end of again, my gift from God is my life. My gift back to God is what do I do with my life? Like, what is your legacy? Now,
mm,
my legacy is in schools. My legacy, the programs that I've built, they're teaching in schools. It's part of their curriculum, kind of their foundation. That legacy will live on and on. Like, it's amazing to me
yes.
because I made a stand. And there's that saying, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. What are you standing for?
Mm,
Make a stand, be committed to something bigger than yourself. That gets you out of bed. That gets you working when you don't want to work. That gets you picking up the phone when you don't want to pick up the phone and you're afraid. That gets you getting on a stage when you don't want to get on a stage and you're sick and you throw up and you go to the bathroom and you go on stage anyways, right? It's like as you have this metamorphosis because it's bigger than your identity. It's not my
mm.
identity.
Mm. It's with you're envisioning the 10x self and you're stepping into that step by step instead of who you are. You're envisioning who you can be, what you're really capable of, and stepping into that role and acting like that. And then eventually you end up getting to the place where you are that person, which is there's something very powerful to that.
Yes.
Stepping into that identity, which is fascinating topic. So Susie, I say we leave it with that. With what you just said was perfect. If you want to take a social media snippet with what you just said, there could be like motivational music behind that. It would be like hard, heavy hitting, heart wrenching stuff you just talked. I mean, amazing. So you provided a massive amount of value for us here. Seriously, and you walked us through every step of the way from finding the offer to pricing it to selling it to getting the leads to sell it. I mean, you walked us through the whole gambit. So thank you for that, really, and I appreciate it. What else do you have to add before we kick this off here?
I would say if you are looking for, another way to look at your business, reach out, right? Go on our website, do the business assessment. It's
Yeah.
free. Go on YouTube, watch some videos, right? There's a ton of free content. Start doing your due diligence to go, what do I need in my business? What do I need to have myself be that passionate? I'm
Mm,
I'm a human
mm,
being. I get
great
tired, I get
question.
burnt out, I get fried. But the reality is there's got to be something bigger than yourself. So let's figure that
Mm,
out. Let's figure out how to make money at that and monetize that. That's the
mm,
fun part. Because math is
mm.
money and money is fun.
Full circle, baby. I love it. All right, Susie. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll talk soon. Again, thank you so much for this massive amount of value, and I appreciate it sincerely.
Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate it. And thank you for doing what you do because we need leaders like you that find people like me to go, let me just bring another person. So thank you for who you are in the world. Thank you for your mission and your drive and your purpose and be willing to have uncomfortable conversations so you can be the man that you're meant to be.
I appreciate that, really. And the same goes for any entrepreneurial listener because the entrepreneurial vibe, the spirit of the entrepreneur is exactly with what you just aligned with what you just said. So amazing. And that goes for you as well, obviously. So amazing
Thank you.
conversation. Thank you, Susie. We'll talk soon. All right.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you.